What's going down, people? It's your boy Myer Krah back again with another episode of Here from the Dads podcast. I got my boy Modd here, man. He's been all over Instagram. You've probably seen his page, underscore the Modd Father, or you already follow the Active Dads brand. I want y'all to hear from him. We got a lot of stuff we could talk about today, but first I'm gonna let him introduce himself. What's going on, dog?
What's up, man? Once again, Myers, thanks for having me, my boy. And for everybody that's tuning in, my name is Modd. I'm the founder of Active Dad, which is honestly a dad organization that we're focusing on building and creating community and networks, for dads to just have other brothers to lean on while also creating those communities and networks for their kids as well.
Right. And don't get no better than that. I promise you for a fact, like I played football literally from elementary school all the way through college. And the last thing I thought I'd probably be known was important, encouraging dad type stuff.
Look at you.
That was not on my list. Like when I was in kindergarten, they wrote down, what type of jobs do you want to have? What things do you want to do? Who inspires you? I don't think fatherhood was on there.
You just kind of get pulled into it, man. When you're kids, you know how I go. Everything starts changing, and you're like, all right, let me kind of do something that makes sense. Was kind of easy, and you know how that balance goes.
Yeah, man, and I'm still looking for the balance too, because as soon as you become a father, bro, it's hard not to be passionate about it. That's why for me, it's so hard when I do see fathers who don't want to be dads. Like they know they got kids out here and they just chilling. I'm like, how can you be on the PS5 right now telling us you got kids?
We on the same way, because I'm like, bro, like after you just have your kids and it's just like experiencing it, it's like how the hell can you be sorry?
Yeah. Like I remember the first 9 months, I didn't feel like I had a bond with my child. You know what I'm saying? Like wife was, oh, come touch the baby. I was like, okay, well, it's not kicking. Then he start kicking, and you're like, okay, that's kind of weird. It's kind of alien. And then the baby gets there, and you're like, whoa.
You're like, you know what?
Yeah, and they what they say is like they imprint on you or something like that.
Yeah, it's just like, I remember when I first had my first kid, Landon, and after he came, like in the hospital, hold him, and you're like, I really got a baby. Like,
no, for real.
He's leaving with us. Okay. Cool.
That's you go home and you wake up next morning like, bro, it's a baby in the house.
It's someone else to hear, and they just woke me up a little earlier than I would want to be woken up.
Oh, say that. It's gonna be like your last good nights of rest, to be honest.
Yeah. I tell all dads before they had their kids, I'm like, enjoy your rest, sleep, roll over, do what you can do, because it's game time once they hit.
They think we be playing too. We be trying to tell them like, and when you get to the hospital, because at this point I got 4 kids, so I'm like veteran dad when it comes to the hospital game and like doing a lot of other stuff. As soon as we pull up, I'm going to sleep. Like I got my blanket. I'm getting my rest now because I'm about to be up for the next like 48 hours. Make sure mom's straight. And then you got a new baby.
And that sofa that sofa is so uncomfortable too.
Right.
There needs to be research done on that sofa, because
that's the dad's plight, bro. Like, why would you ever make anything like that? Like, I think you could do better.
They make it hard at the gate. They make it hard at the gate.
We need restitution, right? We can't just keep going through this. But those fathers that get a chance to experience that are the ones who get closer to that passion. For the men who don't, though, so like, let's imagine you have a father who's not really in the relationship, but they start and decide they're going to have the baby, and they are separate from each other that entire time. I can only imagine without the experience that maybe you don't feel the tug and the pull to do those things. Like, how do you feel about that for men who are in those positions?
I mean, I can agree to that, because I feel like if you're not as so cliche, if you're not as active or just present, within the process, you can grasp it, but you can't really grasp things. And I would say that it's like anything that you work on. Like, let's say you're in a group project, if you're just there and you're not doing anything, you're not really tied into it as well. So I would look at, pregnancy and that whole process as, the more involved you are, the more it'll make you, appreciate and just really want to hop more into it, versus if you aren't as involved. Unfortunately, some women may experience that. It's kind of like let's hope he kind of sees the baby's here and now. He's more involved and into it.
Yeah, and that's something that's not an easy scenario that you want to lead on either, like hoping that things will change, because if they don't, then what else you got to do? You know what I'm saying? Now you got to either go to court. You gotta talk to somebody, grandma. You gotta move back home and get some help.
Hey, I'm always transparent with my story and stuff. And my mom flat out told me he was ghosted. He popped up at the last minute when she was in labor with me. So like I
Mm,
see the effects of shit. If you're not really into the process like that, then when the baby does come, it's like it's that
yeah,
buy-in to really get into it. So, my mom and Sherry, me and my dad have a good relationship now. My parents have a good relationship now. But she was just always transparent about that as well. And I can just see some of the stuff that we endured growing up, how it does disconnect guys from that.
what more do you know about like that fatherhood journey for your dad? Have y'all ever talked about it? Does it feel touchy or sensitive or?
Um I guess somewhat because how our relationship was, when we got to a really good place, or we got to a point where we can really iron out what our relationship would be. And I want to say I was about 21, 22. We actually had a conversation about it. I can be inquisitive when I need to be. I'm just very upfront. So
Mm,
we had conversation, and I just wanted to know the inconsistencies that I experienced
mm,
growing up. What was the reason for that? And just from having conversations with him, he was saying that he felt like he was scared to, and it's like fight or flight. When you don't know what to
yeah.
do in situations. Unfortunately for him, he didn't really know, how to step up. His dad wasn't around. So it's not like he grew up with that figure of, having to figure it out. He felt like mom's was good because my mom wasn't very, I know that they hate the strong woman era, but my mom was very, just very strong, very assertive. He has a very dominant
Mhm.
personality. But for him, he said sometimes he just felt like he didn't know like where to get in and fit in at. And that's why we would experience those inconsistencies. But from there, we were just able to just have a really good conversation about, what was the past, what would the future look like, and just to keep everything on a good foot from there.
How do you think those inconsistencies affected you growing up, and has it played a part in you being a father today?
Yeah, I would say it affected me growing up. Sometimes I feel that I was exposed to too much at a younger age because you will hear individuals talk about their parents and stories, their situations with their child's fathers, the mother of their child. Um, my mom was not holding back. You talk to so many people, like, mom, they're like, mom did not let me know my dad was my dad until I became an adult.
Yeah.
They're like, so, and I feel like those are the people that grow up heartbroken. They're like,
Yes.
oh, when I turned 16, my mom told me like everything that happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not with my damn mama. It was it's like, hey, she came out the gate. He
Straight
ain't
like
doing
that.
this. He ain't doing that. I don't know what. No.
She's like, I don't know what to tell you, but this is
Yeah,
what I know.
exactly. Like I don't know what to tell you.
And she was giving you facts though. So like you
Yeah.
could fill in gaps here and there. And I think sometimes people do it out of maliciousness, right? They like
Yeah.
have just twins in a relationship and they're just feeding you stuff. But she was
Yeah.
giving you facts. So at
Yeah.
that point, you didn't have these holes or gaps. The questions were like, okay, well then why? And
Yeah.
you can get those answers later. But
Yeah.
when you're filling the gaps by yourself and asking why, you can
Yeah.
make up anything, bruh. As a child who needs to fill these gaps in and talking about the security of yourself and the man
Yeah.
needing a man, like that can be very rough and detrimental to
Yeah.
somebody growing up. Just how you said.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with all of that. But I would say just the experience that I've had, I'm always a person that allows myself to reflect and use that to move forward. So I just knew when I had kids, I knew what not to do when I
Mhm.
had kids. That doesn't mean I had all of the answers because as you may know, fatherhood is just a lot of trial and error.
Yeah,
What works this week, what works this month, it may not work next month or it
yeah,
may not work the next week. So you're gonna always be tweaking and from that, I felt I went into fatherhood with a really good blueprint, with my kids. And then just from life, time, and experience, I've just been able to tailor it. And I'm still tailoring it, every day to make sure that I'm just showing them as best way as possible.
I heard that. So let's take a step back a little bit. Tell me about like where you from, and then like your journey into going to high school, college, all that good stuff. Because I want people to be able to resonate, especially for the listeners who are also from North Carolina and
Okay.
are down there right now too. They know they can find you. But then
Yeah.
take me right into like your fatherhood journey, like what that was like.
Okay. So As stated, my name is Modd Torrance. I'm from Savannah, Georgia, originally, so you may hear it in my accent when how I say some things. I might say street, say straight, a whole lot of other country stuff that comes from down there. But my growing up, my experience was a little different because my mom was a single parent to an extent, but then my mom got married as well. So my mom was married for a while, and I have a my stepdad who's still like a dad figure to me. They were married, I want to say, from like third grade to 10th grade. So that was a pretty good chunk as well. But then afterwards, when they split, it was like back to the single parenthood. So I always tell people, I know the single parent household, I know the joint parent experience. There's like, all right, we back to the single parent household experience from there. But I can say just my upbringing, my mom, I was always active. Southern church boy. Mom kept me in church, but I was just always active. I was always in things. I can say some hardships that me and my mom experienced. Just really at a young age, just taught me to, weather the storm, to don't give up, to always press forward and work hard towards what you want. So, college, I went to Savannah State as well. Some of the best 4 years of my life. Shout out to SSU. And after graduating college, I stayed in Savannah, and I tried to move in 2013, which didn't work out for me. I tried to move to Charlotte. So I then said, if I'm going to stay here, I'm going to make this the most out of being home. So shout out to the best fraternity on earth, Joint Alpha Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I also had my own youth empowerment nonprofit, Project Inspire, to where we did a lot of youth empowerment within local high schools. We are motivational speakers for high schools and even on a collegiate level. So we did some work within Savannah State, Georgia Southern, Bethune-Cookman, to name a few schools that we did work and partner with from there. And I had my first son, 2016. Well, yeah, my son, 2016, I had him, and it was just it was a huge shift then for me. You just go from being young. I was 25 at the moment. So, you just go from being young to, all right, now you're a kid. But I felt like I just had so much. Now you have a kid. I'm sorry. But I felt that I had so much to give, just from my experiences growing up. And then also from attempting to be ready. Because I don't think you're ever really ready for anything.
No.
Like you can prepare.
You can prepare as much as you can, but it's like if the teacher say like, "Hey guys, we're gonna have a test on Friday." You're like, "Okay, on what? This is the first week of school, so we got a test on Friday. You ain't taught us nothing yet." So it's like, hey, just be prepared.
Just be prepared. Just do what you can.
There we go.
So I had my son February 2016, Landon, and I actually ended up moving at the top of the next year. I relocated to Charlotte, North Carolina, and it was one of those things where once you have kids, it puts a fire under you to just make sure you have stuff together. Luckily, I wasn't one of those guys that had to get their shit together because they had a baby. I was already in a pretty good spot, but I just knew I wanted more. And from there, so I moved to Charlotte 2017, while the girlfriend and the kid were still home, and we would rotate. I would go home 1 month, 1 weekend. They would come up 1 month. So we did that for a whole year because he was just so young, and we didn't really want them to leave our support that we had. So family moved up that next year after his birthday, moved up. We were engaged when she did move up. And we've been in Charlotte now, thriving since then. I have a daughter as well. I don't have 4 like you. I got 2. I won't, and I'm okay with my 2 that I have. But we got balloons on.
Yeah, because you hit the
party.
When you do that, my kids taught me that. It's like they got all types.
Look at us, hey man. I'm a little washed. I don't know about all these effects.
Man, my kids do all types of stuff. They be on the phone with their grandma.
If I say money with some money drop,
that'd be nice. Look, that'd be nice. Somebody call AI.
But yeah, bro. So since then I have a 5-year-old daughter, now Lennox. So we have Landon and Lennox. My son is actually on the autism spectrum as well. I'm very vocal about that because I do feel that within our community, when it comes to autism, there's just so much around it. People, like to shy away from conversations. People don't like, talk about diagnosis and IEPs and things of that nature. And I just think with our journey with my son, everything that I have learned, it was literally trial and error. And from there, it's just very important for us as Black men, especially, to lead the charge and communicating and making sure that everyone's doing best when it comes to their kids.
You talked a little bit about support and family support. Now you're also talking about the resources to understand those. Can you start with the support part and how important it is to have support from your family
Yeah.
and like be able to have the tribe and like doing those in those first couple years?
hmm when it comes to support, all of our families back home in Savannah. So, being able to, drop the kid off here, or, this mom gets it, or this grandma, has the baby. And I think in those early years, that's very important, just because you're still trying to figure out what you're doing. So you're gonna need those times to be like, have a break. Like mom needs a break, dad
Mm.
needs a break, things of that. So I think just having family around was a very pivotal and very essential for the early years. Now, what I did experience was when we had my daughter, we're no longer in Savannah. So I
Mhm.
oftentimes tell people, when everybody's on Instagram, like, get up, move to a new city, start your life over. I did it, best decision that I ever made. What I will say is, no one talks about when you're in a new city and you have no support and you have small kids.
Mm.
So my mother-in-law is like, she's gonna hop on the road to meet us halfway, or she's either up here every other month, like helping us out, with the kid, and especially when we first had Lennox as well. Um, but that is tough. It's just tough
Yeah.
being in a different city. And, things aren't the same for when we were younger as well. So even when it comes to vetting, babysitters and
Yep.
things of that nature, my
Even
wife,
neighbors, bro. Like
yeah,
you
like
might not even know your neighbors for real.
you don't know anyone. So that's what I do like about the community that I live in, because I feel like a lot a lot of our peers don't really experience that village culture that I feel like we had growing up. Just the village, like, this neighbor looks out for this
Yeah.
person. Everybody knows each other. Everybody talks to each other. A lot of people don't talk to each other in their neighborhoods now. Uh,
Mm.
Nobody can tell your kids anything. How I grew up, if I was outside and I was acting up, Miss Betty from next door would be like, "Hey,
Oh,
you need to tighten up.
bruh, straight
I'm
like
telling
that.
your mom."
Hey, and you used to be scared, like, okay, I ain't gonna be out. Now you think about it, like, I have now moved to a community where people are a little bit more vocal. The
Yeah,
neighbor will come outside. It's because I'm in a new construction. There's a lot of new
yeah,
families here with younger kids, so you get that. But you
yeah,
still see that tug from people just not being outside as much, not knowing who to trust. When I think about when I was younger, like I was my son's age, he's 6 years old. I hop on the bike and I'm hitting the cul-de-sac.
Oh,
You
you
know what I'm
outside?
saying? We
You was outside?
outside. Like my mama could see me, and I remember every house. I remember
Yeah,
every mama is Miss Miranda. It was Miss Van, Miss Sade. Like I remember all of
yeah.
them, and they would literally just watch if they needed to come outside and give
I
one of the
know.
kids a snack. Got it for everybody.
Yeah,
And if somebody fell down, one of the mamas gonna probably come outside. But
yeah.
that's not. It's not like that no more.
I can remember when I was in high school. Was I in high school? I had to be like, yeah, I believe I was in the ninth grade, or I was either in middle school. And I can remember getting into a fight.
Mm.
And my mom and my aunt, they went to the fair. I had no family around, and I'm out in the street knucking, handling this shit, like,
You wild.
and it took for the neighbors to, like, grab me, like, pull me in the house. And I didn't start it, by the way. I did not start the fight.
I don't believe it, bro.
But
You
it
like
took,
you
but
might you might have started.
it took for the neighbors to grab me, pull me in the house, call my mom, be like, "Hey, he's been in a fight. He didn't get beat up. He's
Mhm.
all right. We have him at the house. When y'all leave the fair, he'll be over here." And I'm like, that times have changed, bro. It's
Times have changed
not like that
because
anymore.
I'm imagining myself getting that phone call when you know it's from a friend. It,
Yeah,
it sounds different when the teacher calls you or somebody else calls and say, "Hey, your son's been in a fight." Like if it was
yeah,
the cop that called you, your son's been in a
yeah,
fight. It's completely different when it's from the neighbor that you now have relational equity with. Like with they've been to your house, they know
yeah,
your kids by name. They know they can you can just send them the code to go in the house and tell them
yeah.
to change your clothes
Go
like
go
that.
check on something right quick.
Right, like watch the crib. Like when I
Yeah.
leave, especially the last two houses, when I left the house, I won't tell nobody to watch my crib. I was trying to leave in the middle of the night so nobody knew I was gone. Because I just it's and I don't know if it's the society we're living in where things are changing and people get more afraid,
Yeah,
or because we're all on the internet in social media and not in each other's faces as much as we should be one
yeah,
on one building those relationships. But it's extremely important when we have kids because now we understand that these relationships do matter, not for only ourselves, but for them as well. And now, like when you move to these new cities and you're by yourself, you hit that playground, you're like, okay, I'm on a mission, man. I might need to actually meet this father whose child is the same as, same age as mine, because that can help me somewhere.
Yeah, and it's funny you said that. When I was I'm a runner, so I'll like run around my neighborhood. My kids run with me sometimes. And this particular day, I was running, and there was this little girl on the scooter. She came up to my daughter's like, "Hey, can we play?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let us know." So we walking, and I saw where she was. I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." I'm old school. I had to meet your parents. I don't
Yep.
to nobody, and I'm also trying to be like, "All right, where you come from?"
Yeah.
Well,
So,
so
hmm
or talk to the dad. It's cool. They're playing. Then she goes down the street. And there's another kid, and at this point, we were really just working on like my son's like social circle, because he's a little bit more introverted than my daughter. But we ended up meeting another kid, same age as my kid. They everybody hit it off. I met their dad as well. So like you said, that shit is really important, and it's sad that this day and age we kind of have to do a little bit
yeah.
before. Everybody will. I'm from the country, so everybody
Yeah,
on the
me too,
porch.
bro.
Everybody on
Like,
the porch. You know about
mhm.
porches. Everybody on the porch doing what you had to do. Now
Yeah.
it's not so much. So
It has definitely changed, but it doesn't mean that you have to just quit on it, though.
yeah,
I think some people be like, man, I don't want to have to worry about these schools. Everybody's crazy. I'm about to
yeah.
homeschool my kid. We ain't going nowhere. They ain't doing nothing.
You're gonna be
Like,
tired.
you're going to be
You're gonna be so
exhausted.
tired.
Bro, you're gonna be so exhausted. You have to find that tribe, and you got to find ways to lean on them in
Yeah,
different ways. Not only for the challenges, but for times where you just need to go out. Like when I
yeah,
started to first build that tribe back in Norfolk, it changed the game for me, and it changed the game for my wife,
yeah,
because I didn't know how much I actually needed to have guys to go out with, also with my kids, until I did it for that first time, and I came back and my wife had like cleaned up the crib. She had
yeah,
got some sleep, you know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
that kind of changed the trajectory of the
Everybody
next few
wins.
days. Everybody wins.
Yeah,
And it wasn't that like I didn't want to take them out. It's like I was like, I don't feel like going all the way out, by myself. And then what
yeah,
if this and that? You get exhausted and tired, but you kind of share the load when you have that tribe with you and you get a chance to go outside and do some of those things. So
yeah.
that support system is through the roof. So the next part I wanted to ask was about resources. And the reason why I asked about that was because I had a good friend of mine. His name is Brian. He has children with autism, and he talked to me about that journey. One
Mhm.
thing that he was talking about was there was so much to learn.
Yeah.
Did you find or face any battles or challenges in understanding like the next step for you all after you guys figured out or learned that your son had autism?
Um, there were a lot of resources. My wife's a huge researcher, so she was on the computer and she really found like a lot of stuff that was available in Mecklenburg County. Looking back on it, we wish we knew things earlier,
Mm,
because when one of the biggest factors with autism is if your kids aren't talking. And I can recall, my son not talking, and everybody's telling you what to do. It's like, oh,
right.
well, he's not talking because you don't talk to him. Oh, he's not talking because you don't do this. Oh, don't worry about it. Boys talk late. Oh, don't worry about it. So there were just so many determining factors, and we're trying to figure out what's going on. And A, we're brand new parents. B, we're brand new parents, trying to figure out what is this developmental delay, what's going on for there. So once we finally got him evaluated, and from there, we just kind of knew. The doctor's offices gave you really good resources. One of his specialty doctor, her son is the same age with him. He's on an autism spectrum as well. So just really after learning those things, and when he finally became talking, because it's one of those things where you just don't know. It's like,
Yeah.
kid may talk one day. Some kids are unfortunately to where they're nonverbal. So, and it was literally during COVID, because his speech teacher, his occupational therapy teacher, all of them would always tell us, no, he's extremely bright. He may not be talking now. He's going to talk. Like,
Mm,
don't beat yourself up. And in the back of your head, you're like, you have to tell me this. You're a teacher.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. You're
Thanks
like,
for giving me hope. Yeah,
right. You're like,
thanks
at
for
this point,
giving me
I don't
hope.
know who to trust.
Yeah,
Like,
because you're hearing so much, but literally during COVID, we're just practicing stuff, and I feel like he just woke up one day and he just literally just started talking out of the blue, and I'm like, and at first, like he'll say a couple words, and I'm like,
yeah.
all right, cool. He said,
Yeah.
and then it was like he just kept going. Then like stuff that we would be practicing, for me
Mhm.
to say outside of that. I'm like, okay, what's this? Ice cream. Oh, what's this? Oh, salsa. So I'm like, all right,
Whoa, okay.
there we go. So
Yeah.
there's so many resources out there. I always tell dads, anybody who's watching this, if you want to talk to someone that has a kid on the spectrum, like let me know. I'm hella extroverted as well, so I always meet people. So I was able to connect with some really good guys.
That's good.
Shout out to my boy Quan, who's actually a part of our Charlotte Dad Tribe. He's a mental health therapist, but he also specializes in working with kids with autism as well. So it was like spot on, somebody to help me through things like that. But it's been a journey, but it's been a beautiful journey in the end. And anything that I endure and go through, I always try to flip it. So we do active and autism. It's a virtual discussion. I do active dad. We do it once a year. So this year I'm actually gonna do it twice. But and it's just a really good discussion with a lot of other dads that have kids on the spectrum for other parents, to just tune in, listen, and chime from there. And I realized after sharing my story, so many other people have reached out to me like, hey, we think my kids on the spectrum, these are some things that we're noticing. Can you give any advice? I tell people I'm not anybody's doctor. I'm just a dad. I'm just a dad. And
The
anything that I
experience
learn,
counts.
yeah,
Counts
but
a lot.
anything I learn, I'm here to share it with you, man.
Man, active dad, you guys do a lot, and I love that you're leaning forward and putting these resources out and
Yeah.
giving people a place to go to, right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes you can just add something or post something and say, "Oh, hey," or if you ever
Yeah.
need something, like reach out to me. You're taking the next step and like
Yeah.
actually giving people a place to go and a chance to meet other people.
Yeah.
When did you start the active dad, and like how did that really come about?
I would really say like 2019. So when I first had Landon, I really just like the conversation me and you had, we realized there's not a lot of communities for dads. Mom is joining X, Y, Z, all of this stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm literally looking online and I'm like, I don't see a damn thing when it comes to
No, for
dads.
real, for real.
So I started out making merch because
Okay.
I, I I consider myself a fly guy, but I did not want the damn best dad ever shirt.
Yeah, bro.
I'm
Get
like,
the best dad coffee mug
best
to
dad
match.
ever, number one dad.
Yeah,
You know how it is on Father's Day. They're gonna
yeah,
pull out
man.
them 3 shirts and it's like, get your pick.
It's just the normal generic stock mock up too. It's not even like you ain't even.
Nothing
You could have got me
fancy.
the Nike version. You ain't got no
You
Nike
feel
number
me?
one
You
dad.
feel me? So I started designing some shirts from there, and that's how it began. Then I was like, all right, cool, let's do play dates.
Okay.
And I would do play dates. 2019 was really when I was like, all right, I'm gonna get in my bag with doing things. Then COVID happened, which derailed everything. COVID, another
Yeah.
baby happened. So I really feel like these last 2 years I've been very more intentional than before. Because previously I would just probably, had the shirts out there and we would probably do one event once a quarter. Now we have a whole network of dads. We have these dad tribes set up in different cities. Every third Wednesday we do dad tribe virtual calls on Zoom, and you literally got guys from North Carolina to LA that are all on these calls. And we're just talking about, everything under the sun when it comes to fatherhood. We have breakout discussions. We have one big room. Then the tribe leaders, they all facilitate breakout rooms with everyone just to make it a little bit more intimate.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, just really putting in the work. And just like we mentioned earlier, realizing that men don't open up until they realize they're in the same situation.
Yeah.
That you know how, because we're not really taught the template.
No, and
So
you got to find somebody you trust that's been either
yeah,
in the trenches with you
yeah.
or they've been in the trench like you, right? So,
You
oh,
can
you in the
tell
Navy,
you, all right,
I'm in
come
the Air
on.
Force. Like, yeah, come on, we can resonate like that. Because otherwise, what are we doing? To
Yeah,
us, it's like we wasting time. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So yeah, so that's honestly been it, man. The model that we have now, the goal, we're finally wrapping up the Ice Cream with Dad tour, which Ice Cream with Dad started off.
Talk about that. That's how I initially like got
Yeah,
on and saw. I was like, bro, I gotta make this. I think I had a football game.
yeah.
And just started
Literally,
coaching and
before
stuff.
you
But
got on, I'm literally sitting here working with Ice Cream with Dad on Ice Cream with Dad stuff.
all
And
that's dope.
honestly, it honestly just began as a play date. Like, hey, hit up some of the homies. What y'all doing? Let's all take the kids to ice cream. We did it. Uh, I want to say I did it for the first time in 2019, 2020 COVID. Came back 2021. And I was like, all right, hey, we're gonna do the same thing. All right, y'all boys. Like I told you, I was just trying to do an event once a quarter, so
Yeah.
kind of play nothing too formal. We just get together. And last year when we did Charlotte, I made a reel and I put it on Instagram, and the response was like, damn, I wish we had that here. Damn, this looks cool. Wish we had this here. And I was like, you know what if we can do it? I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
cool. So last year we did one city a month, and we had Charlotte. It was Charlotte, Raleigh, Augusta, Savannah, and Atlanta. We did
Okay.
5 cities last year. Really good turnout of everything. And this event has just showed the importance of community, because you got a lot of dudes that may not know how to meet friends, or their kids may be struggling to make friends, things of that nature. And at Ice
Mhm.
Cream with Dad, you got kids from all ages.
Yeah.
And they'll organically. My son is at every Ice Cream with Dad. If it's at one that's at a park, he's out there with his football, and all he has to do is throw that football up in the air.
Oh boy,
And
what?
before it comes down, everybody running, all the kids running over there.
Yes, man. Man, all kids, man.
So yeah, it's been a blessing, bro. So like this year, me and the team sat. I was like, cool, bet we're gonna do more cities. So we did the same 5 that we announced. We also added Charleston, South Carolina. Um,
Mm.
we have Huntsville, Alabama this Saturday. Savannah's gonna be this Saturday. We had Milwaukee for the first time.
Really? All
We
right.
did Milwaukee this year, and then we're finishing off in LA next Saturday, and that'll be the last date. I've still been reached out to about a couple other cities, and we'll just do pop-up events, but the actual tour lineup after next Saturday. But it's been a blessing. Just being able to connect with dads everywhere, literally just getting together with ice cream. It was a concept that when I initially announced this, I made a flyer. I didn't even have like all of the locations. I'm big
Dang.
on faith. I was like, we're gonna throw this out there. God gonna
Yeah.
figure it out from there. So
God, doing it, thing. Boy.
everything, just give him as much as you got.
Yeah, yeah. Give them what you got. That's
Yeah,
it.
and he'll step in from there. So yeah, that's been that, and it's just been the response I've gotten from Ice Cream with Dad. Leg one, we interacted with a 480 dads in between 5 cities.
Wow.
So some cities like Macon, for example,
Mhm.
theirs was so big. It was at um, it was at a park. They had gaming trucks, food trucks, ice cream
Yeah.
trucks.
Leave.
So every city's different.
Yeah.
I have tribe leaders in each city, so I just chat with them and I tell them like whatever you guys want to do, whatever the vision looks like for you. If you
Hmm.
want to just pop up at an ice cream shop, cool. If you want to do the park festival vibe, all
Right,
that
right.
stuff, like cool. You got the manpower, you got people in place. So
Mhm.
this year just really showed me the power of delegation, because
Mhm.
I am a control freak. I want everything to be done a certain way, and I
Right,
was
you got
and
a
I,
vision for it. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm like that too. I got the vision. I'm just like, ah,
boy, listen, you gonna be burnt out.
yeah, for real. I believe burnt out.
And last year I was so burnt out from it. So like this year I was like, you're gonna delegate, you're gonna trust people, you're gonna let
Yeah.
them do things how they want to do it. And yeah, so but the crazy thing is I can't talk about it now, but I have an event that's gonna drop at the top of the year that I really feel it's gonna be bigger than Ice Cream with Dad. So that's why I'm really focused. And as I was telling you, I'm meeting that shout out to my blind brother Eric. He's gonna take creative direction for the marketing and videos and everything. But it's
I
just really think that event is gonna really take us there.
You said the top of the year is when you dropping it, or top of the
Yeah,
year right
top of
now?
the year. Because I'm tired.
I
We
was
gonna
thinking,
we
bro, take a
I'm
break.
tired. Then we got then the holidays coming now. You know how it
Well,
goes.
yeah,
October is homecoming season. After
yeah.
November,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
mm,
And we go into like the next gear too. So like, thank God we don't got to go mow the grass and do all that other stuff. But now it's time for presents. We got to put a bunch of stuff together.
I'm
We got
already.
family coming in and out of town and stuff. It
Do
can
y'all
be
take holiday
exhausting.
pictures?
Say again?
Do y'all take holiday pictures?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Last year it was like,
Extra. We do holiday pictures every year. I'm
oh,
yeah. In
we
October,
doing.
like, what we doing? What we gonna wear? What we take?
We had got so burned out after like during that whole time because we had just had the twins and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember we took the holiday pictures and didn't realize until like Christmas that we never even sent any of it out. We ain't make no cards. So I was like, bro, we about to start texting people. So we just text people to call. We just text people the pictures with like a happy birthday, happy Merry Christmas, all that. Because I was like, man, half the time, some people they'll keep them and maybe they put on a Christmas tree. That's what we normally do.
Yeah.
But some people get it, they just throw it away anyway. So I'm like,
They
yeah,
bet they bet my them cars too damn expensive to be
well,
throwing
what?
away. You
Yeah.
better put me on your fridge every damn summer, every
Hey,
winter.
when I pull up to your house and I don't see that picture on that
You
fridge,
gotta be on there.
it's gonna be some problems. You better have a box or something. So you're talking about the tribes and meeting everybody and having this network. One thing I always have seen, especially when I was doing the community groups in Norfolk, I'm about to start it back up here. Again,
Okay.
I'm in Locust Grove, Georgia. But I would see a lot of older dads who had kids who have been through college and gone and always say like, man, I wish I had that. You know, I would ask them like, why? And naturally they would come up with these different conversations that they just wish they got a chance to talk about with other fathers to know that they weren't alone in that. And that went across the entire spectrum. And I remember I was kind of going through your page when when I first had saw the Ice Cream Dad and the social for with the kids. And I remember you talking about a topic that you had brought up during one of your community sessions with your tribe. And it was, am I the dad that I needed when I was a kid? Can you talk to me about that? I think about that a lot. I feel like I just brought this topic up the other day in my own tribe. I want to hear about that from you.
Yeah, so with our dad tribe meetings, the setup we have now, we try to do like a really good topic, and then that next month will be like a check-in. So whatever your whoever is leading the call, they'll just check in and they'll do things that way. But for am I the dad I needed as a kid, that's been the highest participation we've had in dad tribe meetings. I want to
Oh,
say we had about, I know it was over 50 guys that were on that call. But yeah, with it was just a topic, I look at fatherhood and just all the different aspects of it. And I think many of us, whether your dad was in the house or if your dad wasn't in the house, something you always realize is, you know, I wish my parent could have did this. And this isn't from a negative space because you could have had the perfect upbringing, but everybody's going to critique what
right.
their experience. Like, yeah, like, and my parents were good. I wish we did this. My dad was good. I wish we did that. So I think it's very important as men, especially on this fatherhood journey, if you feel like you don't really know what you're doing or you don't have like a blueprint or you didn't grow up with that example in house, the first blueprint that you're going to have is going to be internal. And it's let's think about what you experienced as a kid and some of the things that you felt like you were lacking. Your kids may need that, your kids may not need that, but you can never be wrong by giving your kids too much. So from there, that call was I think one of the deepest ones. A lot of guys, just share, their experiences, rather what they missed growing up, what they wish they had growing up, what they're currently doing now. And everyone was able to then say, like, I'm doing this, but I don't really know if it's most effective. Like, what y'all boys think? And that's really what
I
the
like that.
community, that's really what the community of dad tribe is all about. Not really focusing on like the negative, but just like the positive and whatever. And from that, it was just a really good conversation. And to me, one of the most heartfelt comments I saw was when we were marketing it, because the marketing was everybody's baby picture was the marketing. So all of the tribe leaders, all of those flyers, those are all of our baby pictures.
Oh, snap. That's
So
dope.
when we were marketing it, someone actually was like, I wish my dad had this when he was growing up. And I think that to me just shows the strength in numbers, but then also, if guys are around like-minded guys or if they're able to learn those things, you never know what the outcome may be in the end.
Yeah. And it's a chance to look at it from a different lens. Like
Yeah.
I know a lot of the followers that I have are women. And
Yeah.
you would think that naturally you get a lot of fathers. And I think it started to grow when people starting to understand that there is a space for fathers to learn and be encouraged. But a lot of them are already either mothers and they're just sending it out, or I have friends who are not yet mothers or even don't plan to be mothers who talk about how just seeing what we do is healing her own fatherhood wounds.
Yeah.
And like wishing that her father had these things. And I don't know if it was something that she could just see the gaps and the missing portions of his own relationships that would have possibly, been a benefit and also would have trickled down into the family in a positive way.
Yeah.
Or there's another aspect, but there's many different people and types of people that you can just touch with this type of work. You know what I mean?
And that's been the cool thing about it, because I just do stuff Like just throw something. All right, come on, let's do it. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
All right. So then, like in the end, when you hear like the feedback, like damn, like that was good, or like damn, like I think when we first did our first big dad tribe meetings, because the first official dad tribe meeting this year was in March. And just hearing the response from like so many guys being like, I didn't know I needed that until I got
Wow.
on there. And people like resharing stuff on Instagram and Facebook, like, hey, y'all boys, like, y'all need to tap into this. Like, this was good.
That's good.
And then even in the end, I remember us when we would get back off into the main, and guys, just it's like open floor. So like if anybody has anything they want to ask, and whoever's in here, can share it with them. Just seeing like this guy sharing things like, hey, this is my Instagram, this is my phone number. What city you at? Let's get kids together. Let's do those things. And
That's
ultimately,
always good.
and ultimately, that's what it is, man. Like it's purpose work. I connected with you. Shout out to my boy Osei in LA. He has a fatherhood coaching business. Darren in Huntsville, Alabama, with Daddy and Sense brand. I've been in contact with
Yeah. He's dope.
yeah, he's a
Yeah,
really good friend of mine.
I love him, dude. He's
Yeah,
the man, bro.
Lamar from the Dear Fathers brand as well. Like there is a lot of really good dudes that we're all doing a lot of the same stuff. Rod from Dope Dads in Atlanta as well. But that's really what it's about. Once you get that community together, man, and just get men together, which isn't the easiest thing. So you're already having to break barriers to get men together. But I realized once you get us together and you can all just even the playing field of those common interests, man, it's just a really good thing.
Bouncing off that topic just a little bit, I know we're bringing this kind of to a close, but looking back and reflecting on the challenges and the good and the bad and everything you've gone through up until today, like reflecting on your whole life and knowing who you are today.
Okay.
If you had to, I don't want to say the perfect father because I don't like how that even sounds, so I'm gonna rephrase that whole part. But like, who was the dad that Modd needed? Like, what did you need more of? Because there is no perfect father out there. But like you said, no matter how good the upbringing was or bad, you got to critique it. Now that you know yourself, you can look back and be like, maybe I need a little bit more of this or less of that.
The perfect dad for me would have just been a little bit more reassurance growing up, because I think, and I attempt to practice this with my kids, is you have to really instill your core values and anchor them within kids at a very young age. My therapist tells me all the time, she does not know what my grandma did or her core values that she passed down to my mom, but she's like, y'all value system is so strong. So she's like, some of your ways are so like, I'm not changing it. It's gonna be this way.
Straight like
So sometimes that's what I feel like I needed as a dad, just there to reassure, to give me a little bit more confidence, to make sure, I'm doing things right. I'm looking back on my childhood, luckily, mom stepped up. My mom did a really, really good job. And one of my mom's biggest thing was always, you never forget who you are. You don't forget who you are. You don't forget what your name is. And when it's all said and done, that's all you have in the end. So things like that still as an adult carry me and anchor me on to this day because of the work I did with a lot of youth in high schools. You just realize, and I will always have this thing with my nonprofit, we would say the confidence is key, because if you don't instill and pour into kids and young adults, the streets will.
Oh yeah.
Tell you right now, the street shit. Look at horrible example. Look at Tariq on Power. Go try do whatever.
Hey.
Kanan had came around.
Filled up. Straight like that. And look at him now. Look at him now, man.
Yeah. So I just think, especially in these days, because only God knows what our kids are going to grow up with, because we didn't have technology and the comparison and all of that stuff that these kids have now. So I just think it's very important, even for the dads that are listening, like just make sure you pour into your kids. I tell my son all the time he's smart, and I try to always say smart before handsome, because I don't want him stuck on his looks when he get older. Yeah, you look good, but let's focus on that. Like the same thing with my daughter. I'm like, you are so smart. Like that little girl is so pretty. And I think it's especially with women, because you go down your Twitter timeline and see everything these women dealing with.
Oh, everywhere.
On a regular.
You can hit the search. It's that easy. It's going to be there right there.
So just really trying to just make sure I do a good job of instilling, my kids' confidence and their self-identity with them at an early age. So when they get older, they won't be easily swayed.
And the last question I have, I've been trying to have more conversations about things that fathers don't talk about. And I think there's already like a very broad area for us to start because a lot
Yeah.
of men aren't talking at all.
Yeah.
But I want to have some of those deeper conversations. I want to be able to stroke some of the things that are sometimes harder to speak about. We don't even have to get into it today. But
Yeah.
if you could maybe name something that you're either passionate about or something that fathers don't talk enough about so that in the future we can start having these conversations.
I don't think men in general talk a lot about insecurities.
Um,
I feel like insecurities is always pinned to women. And as emotionally intelligent men, I feel like we can pick up on what insecurities look like for both men and women. But I don't think men talk about just the insecurities that they may have for, how good of a role they're playing within their house. And that goes to if you're a husband, if you're just a dad, worker, things of that nature. Uh, I think it's very important for men to be a little bit more open about that because just from conversations I have like in private, it's so many guys that struggle with things, but they're too prideful and they don't want to look weak by mentioning it. And that's just because of how society has defined, what a strong man is, what a this man is. And I
yeah,
think if you don't have, like we were just speaking about earlier, if you're not anchored in, if you don't have that guidance to say, well, this is what being a strong man looks like for me versus others, you are going to live by the opinions of others or society and get trapped into that. And I've just had a lot of conversations with guys around that over the last few months as well. So I think that is something that isn't talked about a lot, but that's why do I have one of the cards on me? We have these cards, and this is the reason why I actually created these cards. Shout out my boy D. I'm shouting out everybody like I'm at the Soul Trainer.
no, I love this. This is what the people need to hear, bro. They've been
Yeah,
looking
shout out to
for.
my boy D. But like, so we had these cards that say, "Bro, you're doing a good job." And
Whoa.
I keep these in a card and wallet anywhere. These are so these are actually NFT cards. So if you slap it against your phone, you
Yeah.
just put it up against it. It sends them all information about Active Dad, website, everything. But I'll literally be out in public and I could just see somebody with their kid. And I'm like, hey, here you go, bro. Like, hey, I'm Modd, founder of Active Dad. I just want to give you this, tap against your phone. And the amount of guys that have a response to just be like, man, you had no idea how I needed to hear that.
Bro,
Like you
what?
had no idea how I really like how I feel like I'm unseen or I don't
Yeah.
know or if I don't know if I'm doing this right. Because you gotta look at it. You know how things go in some situations that
Yeah.
when you especially if you in the baby mama, baby daddy drama type stuff, those guys, a lot of them feel like they know everything they aren't before they know what they are. They know
Come on.
everything they aren't doing for their kids before knowing what they are doing for their kids.
Yes.
And this isn't public conversation, but a lot of guys from that will kill your self-esteem.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really do kill your self-esteem. So yeah, that's why it's one of the slogans we run by. Bro, you doing a good job. We got shirts that say good dads do is this. And by just giving these little simple cards out, every time I give this to somebody in the street, their response is just like, damn, bro, like I
I mean,
really
my
appreciate
response is like that right now, and I'm just looking. I'm like,
it.
that's those
I'm in
guys
the
to
A
me up with
next
your
month.
voice.
I'm gonna drop you off on when I'm in the A. We're gonna do one
Hey,
side
yeah,
down
bro.
one.
I need that, bro. That's dope, man. That's dope, bro. This has been an amazing conversation. I've learned already so much, and I think my audience has a chance. Now, you said, "Oh, I'm doing too many shout outs," but those are the names we
Yeah.
need to hear. These are the spaces we need to go to because
Yeah.
I have listeners all over the place who are looking for more community, looking for
Yeah.
more tribe. So, if anything, let the people know where they can find you.
Website is www.theactivedad.com. You can drop your information in there. Instagram is _activedad. And my personal Instagram is _modfather. And maybe a little bit more uncensored than the Active Dad page. I'm still being polished. Don't come to my page thinking I'm one of these content creators that's
Yeah, no.
nah, man, y'all gonna see me with the kids, y'all gonna see me in the gym, y'all gonna see me out turned.
Come on.
Balance.
That's what it needs to be.
We're real humans, man.
Yeah. Because we ain't even gonna get into this, but some people think when you become a father, you gotta throw all that stuff away. You can still live.
You better.
There has to be balance.
You better.
There has to be balance. Man, this has been amazing, bro. Thank you for doing this.
Hey, anytime, man. You got a brother in me. You locked in with me. I told you when I'm in the A, we gotta link up. And I'm here for you, my boy.
Say less. Here for the dads. We out.
Thank you for watching. You just listened to Here for the Dads podcast with Myer Krah. I am so grateful that you're here. But if you're new to this space, what I need you to do is slow down and subscribe, share, review, or rate. Whatever you can to help me out, because I'm on a journey to create a space for existing fathers and new fathers that's going to allow them to be a little bit more confident and a little bit more efficient at what they're doing. Thank you.